We've got breaking news, folks. Kendall Graveman is out for the 2024 season. This means there are more questions with this bullpen. Eric and I are going to talk about how this will affect them in 2024 and who they have in-house. And will they go out and get anybody else, or did prices just go up on this edition of Locked On Astros?
Welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on X at Eric Talks Astros. You can find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can I find you at?
They can find me staying inside warm is where they can find me. No, they can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on X, Instagram, and TikTok. They can find me Astros411 on X, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive. Positive. I don't like hearing the news we're sharing today. Always Stros.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon today to get started. And guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go and subscribe to us. Go and make us your first listen. Become an everydayer wherever you listen to your podcasts. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts, go and check out the Locked On Astros podcast. And today we are frozen on the Houston Astros because it's below freezing over here in Houston. It doesn't happen very often. I don't have my heater on very often, but when it is, it's pretty cold. And my dog's over there in a blanket because she's just so cold.
Yeah, no, shoot, we all are, man. It's like I walk around parts of my house and I'm like going, does this mean I need new windows? Because there are certain parts of the house that are super frigid, but we really do hope that if you guys have had to be out there on the road in this cold weather, ice hasn't necessarily been an issue citywide, but I do know some of my friends on the north side of town got some snow. I know some of my friends in DFW got some snow. But anytime these cold
Katie,
snaps,
there's snow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In Katy, there was snow. So just, you know what? Be safe out there. Thank y'all for tuning in. We figured, you know what? Everybody's at home like us. So why don't we talk Astros baseball?
Yes. So this just kind of came out of nowhere. I know that Kendall Graveman missed the entire playoffs in 2023 with the right shoulder issues. And we just assumed this was something that he was going to get over. It wasn't that big a deal. But apparently, breaking news was that Chandler Rome, Brian McTaggart, a lot of people kind of announced it earlier. I guess the Astros came out and released a media announcement and said that Kendall Graveman underwent surgery on his right shoulder, and he's going to miss the entire 2024 season. Yes, the $8 million will go on to the CBT. It will still count. I don't think there's any type of insurance on that, but who would have thought that issue that he had in the postseason would have affected him into 2024. And so now the Astros have another big hole in the bullpen after losing 3 or 4 players this past season. Now you're losing another player in Kendall Graveman after trading Corey Lee to get him. So it's definitely a big loss for the Astros. And so I know that we'll talk about what Dana Brown said about that in a second, but I want to get your thoughts.
Yeah, sorry, Eric. I cannot hear you at all. Your volume on my end has dropped off, so I'm going to keep rolling. You may still be heard by the audience if y'all could let him know. But anyways, look, Kendall Graveman being out is not a good thing, but I do think that there are a lot of internal options that we have available. So one of the things I'd like to see is who are they going to go with? Who's going to step up? You got names like Forrest Whitley and stuff like that I think are very manageable. And so right now we just really have to trust that Dana Brown and the guys, whether they go with the CBT or not to go get somebody, trust our internal options.
Yes. So Dana Brown said that I feel like we have some internal candidates that are good, but we're still in a market for relievers. And back in the winter meetings, he said he wasn't going to overpay for any relievers. And so he's still sticking by that. He said, I still want to be a responsible spender. I just don't want to go out and just get something. I want to get something that's going to help the Astros win in 2024. So I'm still getting used to saying 2024. So Dana Brown is going to go out there and look to see what's out there. This is based on John Heyman. John Heyman just came out a little while ago that says that the Astros have re-upped their pursuit on Hector Neris. So they have, I know the Yankees have been after Neris recently. So this is something that they're going to try to re-engage with as well. So we'll see what happens here. So I know John Heyman, you can say what you want about him and everything, but Heyman says the Astros are in touch with Neris. He had a 1.71 ERA for them last year, but so are the Yankees, the Rangers, and others, as Feinstein mentioned yesterday. So there are many people out there that are looking at Hector Neris. So this is another option for the Astros. So the question is, they had just kind of manipulated their way underneath the luxury tax threshold, no matter what happens with Mauricio Dubon. I mean, that's just if Mauricio Dubon wins, they're going to get a little bit closer to luxury tax threshold. But if you go out and get another guy, you're going to have to go over it. And it's just a matter of, does Jim Crane want to win in 2024, or does he just want to compete or just be another team?
Yeah, Eric, and I do apologize. It was just something on my end. So if I repeat something that you've already said, just let me know. But I really think the Houston Astros, as much as I want to be kind of like a pacifist about it, saying, yeah, they just don't want to go spend the money, they don't want to go over the CBT, we do actually have a lot of options that aren't bad options. You know, JP France could slide into a bullpen role and come in and be a piggyback starter at some point in the season if they didn't want to go with 6-man. Even if he doesn't, you've got a lot of guys that are on the cusp AAA. You know, you got someone like Eric Getty. You've got Whitley, who I think I'm going to predict that Whitley makes the opening day roster. Bennett Souza. I don't know if you mentioned specific players, but Sean Dubin, you know, Brandon Belak's out of options, so he's going to be up with the big league club. You know, there is a large amount of guys that could be serviceable, but who is going to take that spot that Kendall Graveman is leaving open? And I think the price just went up on Neris and the other relievers because the Astros are in more need now. So Neris coming back isn't realistic. Maybe Matan is, but I know they're still talking to Neris. It's the years, the length of contract they are still hung up on.
Just like I said yesterday, I think the Astros lost out on Jordan Hicks because of how many years he wanted. He wanted 4 years. The Astros, especially after what happened with Montero, they're not comfortable giving too many years. And so 3 years, I think, is their maximum, and they're not willing to go above that. So I don't think this was something that Graveman was like, yeah, it's probably something he was dealing with. But you might be saying, well, why did it wait so long? Why did they wait so long to do this? But Brian McTaggart said that, and he just started to just to kind of ramp up and see how his shoulder's doing, get ready for his season. And that's when he started to realize that, oh, it's not good. And so that's when he met with the trainers and met with the Astros and then met with the doctors, and they decided, oh, no, the best option for you is to go ahead and have surgery at this point. And yes, it sucks because the Astros did trade a future catcher in Corey Lee. They also are down a key reliever for in 2024, but he wasn't in there an entire postseason for them. So I think the Astros will be okay. But what happens from here is kind of a big key to the Astros season. We'll go ahead and look deeper into some of the internal options. I know you mentioned some of them earlier, but then we'll look at some of the external options, including Hector Neris in a second.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, this episode, Eric, is,
hold on.
This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. Look, it is getting cold, but the bets and the wagers are getting hot. So you need to step in to the right thing, and that is joining FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's right, $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. See, the app is so easy to use. There are so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays. Find bets in the new Explore tab, make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and so much more. Look, the Texans are playing the Ravens this next week, and we know that the Texans are a 2-touchdown underdog or a 2-score underdog. But you know what? Go check it out with FanDuel. They are America's #1 sports book. Make sure that you check them out. They are the official partner of the NFL. Use a promo code Locked On.
Go ahead and talk a little bit about Ibotta. Ibotta is there in case you don't want to get out there in the cold weather like this. You want to try to save money. And after the holidays, you spent so much money out there. It's officially soup season. It's cold out there. It's freezing out there. So make sure you get all the ingredients you need to master all the recipes while getting your cash back on your purchases with Ibotta. Ibotta is the free app that gives you the most cash back every time you need to shop hundreds of items, from the groceries, beauty supplies to toys. So make sure that you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. Other apps give you points that don't amount to much, but with Ibotta, you just add up your offers in the app, upload your receipt, and you'll get real cash that you can cash out in your bank account, PayPal, or gift cards. Join over 50 million savers and earn cash back every time you shop over 2,700 brands and retailers, including Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and more. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 for just trying Ibotta and using code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. Just go to App Store or the Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app to start earning and get cash back, and use the Locked On MLB code. That's Ibotta in the Google Play or App Store, and use the code Locked On MLB.
All right, so Eric, real quick before we get started, I don't know if you mentioned the quotes from Dana Brown with Brian McTaggart's article. Did you already quote those?
I quoted most of them. I said that they're going to be aggressive, go and look out, get a reliever, but at the same time, they're going to be do it reasonably. They're not going to go out just to get somebody, just to get someone. They're going to be purposeful.
Well, no, but he did say that the club has payroll flexibility to add a relief pitcher. And that I think is one of the key points in Brian McTaggart's article on MLB.com. You know, names that are out there, and one of them, which I know for sure they wouldn't go after: Chapman, Hader, Robertson, Hand, Fulmer, Brazier. I mean, there's even more guys out there. I mean, heck, Colin McHugh. You know, again, Phil Maton's still out there. He's a pretty low cost guy. But there are a lot of options. But I think we got a lot of options here. I mean, we got guys like Coleman, like Selza, who I think are going to be key contributors. Who knows? I mean, maybe Sean Dubin, old Bird's Nest, maybe he steps in and just rocks it and becomes one of those relievers, because the dude can throw smoke. He can throw 100 plus, and he's got some good action. Martinez, if he can continue to put stuff together. So I don't think they necessarily have to go out there and break the bank. I would like to have Neris back, but his price may be too high. And someone's like, I thought he was already a Yankee. No, he's either talked to the Yankees, the Yankees shown interest, but he has not signed with anybody. The Astros are still talking to him. I think they can still get a deal done.
Yes. So there's many options out there. There's options in-house. There's options out there. So Dana Brown just has to look at what's there, what makes sense for the team. And if he has some wiggle room there, that means he has some wiggle room outside for other places too. So I think Jim Crane is okay going over the luxury tax threshold, and if they're going to go for it. And so, like I said, at some point during the season, if they feel like they're not in it, they don't want to pay the taxes, they can always do what the Angels did, because the MLB realized what the Angels did, and they did not make a rule against it. So now you're going to probably see a lot of teams next year probably dump a lot of salary like the Angels did. I mean, they'll probably try to trade at the trade deadline, but I think what the Angels were trying to do was they're trying to get Shohei Ohtani to stay by going out and making some trades. But by the fact that they went out and traded for Giolito, then they dumped him like less than a month later. That just was a bad look for the Angels and for any future free agent that goes there. That just says, if the team starts losing, there's a possibility that they could just dump you. So it's kind of sends a bad message. The Astros have also a lot of bad looks in the past. So I just don't think they'll do that. So hopefully the Astros just do what they need to win. And I think at this point, they do need another arm in the bullpen. Graveman, I think they were counting on. Neris, I would love to have him back. He wasn't that great in the playoffs by any means, but we saw what he did last year in the regular season. So just like we're counting on Framber Valdez to be the guy that we've seen in the past, Neris could be the same guy. And so if you need to go out and get whatever it takes, I think he declined a $8 million option or something like that, 8.5.
Yeah, well, and he declined that because he deserves more. If Rafael Montero is getting $11 million, he absolutely deserves more than Montero. But this is their bullpen for 2024. This is minus Abreu, minus Presley, and minus if they put France in the bullpen. You got Dylan Coleman, Rafael Montero, Declan Cronin, Forrest Whitley, Seth Martinez, Matt Gage, Bennett Souza, Ronel Blanco, Sean Dubin. Don't forget Ronel Blanco. Spencer Arrighetti, I think he plays a role in the pen, does some piggyback starts this year. I think he has a role like Brown did in 2022. Oliver Ortega, Brennan Bielak, and Parker Mashinsky. But this is my going forward. This is my starting pitcher. This is my rotation. Verlander, Valdez, Javier, Urquidy, and Brown. I think those are the 6 that make it. I still think Brown makes the rotation over France just because what they see him doing in the future. Then your relief pitchers are France, Presley, Abreu, Montero, Whitley, Souza, Coleman, Bielak, Martinez, and Blanco. Now, if they sign another name, one of those names gets dropped off, either Blanco or Martinez, but Bielak is absolutely up because he's out of options. So I think
Blanco is running out of options too. I think he only has like 1 or 2 options left.
He may be, but they absolutely bring him back, and at some point he comes in. But Blanco continues to impress in winter ball as well. So, and hey, him and his wife are going to be expecting a baby here pretty soon. I think around the season starts. So,
all right, for you doctors out there or medical people, the surgery was a right shoulder labral surgery. So that's the type of surgery that was done on Graveman. He's going to be out the entire 2024 season. Could that mean that they go out and get Neris? Are they going to go out and get another arm? I know Stevenson from I believe he pitched for the Rays. He's the name that the Astros have been tied to, but he's also going to demand a lot more money. The Astros have been tied to Hicks. So we know they're out there looking for a reliever. But the thing is, what I think Dana Brown's doing is he's waiting out the market. He's waiting for prices to go down. Let's just say he's out there trying to buy a house. Everybody's trying to sell a house for a lot of money right now. And he's just waiting until he finds the house he wants for the price he can afford. And that's what he's doing right now. Because at the beginning of the offseason, all these houses were so expensive. Now closer to the regular season, spring training, those houses are going to be like, I need a job. I need to make money. So they're going to lower their prices down a little bit, so to speak. So in a second, we're going to talk about some future Astros. Some international signings were made yesterday. I know that we talked a little bit about it on the show, but we didn't really address it. And then we'll go ahead and talk about Dusty Baker. He's back in baseball. And so we'll see what that means for baseball in general and definitely in the San Francisco area. So we'll talk about that in a second.
Everybody, this episode is brought to you by Jace Case. I know that we all come to sports to escape the crazy realities of life, but can we talk a minute about preparing for real life? According to the FDA, pharmacies are running out of antibiotics like amoxicillin right in the middle of the worst flu season in over a decade. This is scary. It's kind of crazy too. And I can imagine feeling hopeless knowing that one of my loved ones or one of my kids is sick and the supply chain issue keeps me from getting them life-saving medication or just something they needed to help them get through it. Thankfully, we'll be okay because of Jace Medical. That's right. The Jace case is a pack of 5 different antibiotics to treat a long list of bacterial illnesses, including UTIs, respiratory infections, sinusitis, skin infections, among others. This stuff could happen to any of us. So visit jacemedical.com and complete your physician encounter. It will be reviewed by a board-certified physician, and your medications will be dispensed by a licensed pharmacy at a fraction of the regular cost. It's never been more important to be prepared than today. So go to jacemedical.com and use your offer code Locked On to get $20 off your order. Jace Medical, they're here to help.
All right, guys, let's go and thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go and subscribe to us. Go and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify. But let me talk to you about Locked On Sports today. It is a live 24/7 streaming podcast. And it's not just about baseball, not just about NFL. It's all sports, and it's there for you. Whatever the big news of the day is, it's going to be there 24/7, the first 24/7 streaming channel out there. So go and check out Locked On Sports today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports streaming channel out there. All right. So, Brett, before we get to the international signings, Dusty Baker has not retired too long. He's unretired, so to speak, but he's taken a kind of a partial part-time job with the Giants. He's going to be assistant to the general manager. And this is something that he's excited about. And I saw Bob Nightingale say that this was one of the best free agent signings of the offseason. Because the Giants need some help. They haven't had a lot of 90-win seasons in a while, and Dusty Baker has had a lot of 90-win seasons in his past 10 years or so. And so he feels like Dusty Baker is going to bring a lot to the Giants franchise.
Hey, and I mean, he was there with one of their most historic players they've ever had in Barry Bonds, and went to World Series and nearly won. He didn't win it till he came here. But I clearly put this on the shoulders of the bloggers and the tweeters and the influencers of why he made this decision. So I hope they're okay with what they've done to Dusty Baker. But no, in all seriousness, he's also kind of going to become a part of the ownership group as well. So I think this is probably a financial move, long-term move for him and his family. And it makes sense. He's beloved in San Francisco. Look, I mean, he is beloved in baseball. And for all the maligning that he got and all the criticism he got for the lineups and stuff here in Houston and us not going back to the World Series, blah, 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 he is very much one of the most seasoned veterans in all of baseball. And so San Francisco seems like a perfect place. He lives there. It's his home. And so, good for him. Wish him all the luck.
Yes. So good luck, Dusty Baker. We'll try not to mess up your lineups in San Francisco. So you can't blame us there. But the Astros land 9 international prospects on signing day, including one that they gave a $1.7 million signing bonus. He is Cesar Hernandez. Hernandez was the guy that received $1.7 million. He's 20 years old, left-handed. And then they also signed Luis Rivas out of Cuba as well. He's a 19-year-old switch hitter. So they've also signed Franchelli Silverio, a 17-year-old Dominican infielder. And so there's several big names out there. So there's a lot of names out there. We won't know much about them until they start doing stuff in the big leagues, but they did get the 49th overall international prospect as well. So there's some, the Astros have done a great job in their past, just like building from the draft semi, but they've been doing a great job like going outside of the country and getting players. And so the Astros have had the big Cuban connection like you've brought up in the past. And they have a lot of good findings like Luis Garcia, Framber Valdez, just to name a few.
So this kid, Cesar Hernandez, this outfielder, he is rated by most the the top 18U prospect in Cuba back in 2020. And so he is someone that's sought after. The $1.7 million is the bonus that he's getting. And, someone freaked out. They're like, 1.7 million. I'm like, look, they have so much pool money. I don't know if their international pool money is like 56 million or 60 million.
52.84.
And so 1.7 is not like, it's not like you're overpaying. It's not like you have like 12 million available and you give them 10 of the 12, right? And then you got to give everybody, breadcrumbs. But if they're paying a kid like this and he's an outfielder, he's got an arm, he's got a bat. I was looking at him take swings. He looks good out there. Maybe he's one of these guys that comes in and does more and actually completes the task. Maybe he's a 5-tool guy like the Pedro Leon's supposed to be. Luis Baez is a guy that I'm super excited to watch him rise through the minor league system. I don't think Luis Baez is going to touch the major leagues this year. I think he's still at least a year out, if not 2, but he's at least 1 year out. And Baez is one of those guys. You're going to see some of these international signings be stars in the future because, like you said, Eric, the Astros do a phenomenal job. And they did lose a couple key guys, and I'm going to have to look at where they filled the holes in. But Rafael Pena and Elvis Rodriguez, friends of the show, have moved on to respectively to the Phillies and to the Cardinals. And so I stay in touch with them. We may still bring them on the show. Good guys, but from what we've heard and the people we've interviewed, I trust wholeheartedly the Astros international signing staff and all those things.
Yeah, and getting back to the Hall of Fame, I think Billy Wagner still looks like he's doing pretty good. And the voting, we'll have to see how it all finishes out. I believe the voting will be released pretty soon. I know the internet writers and bloggers, they have their own Hall of Fame vote, and they did not vote him in. So it was only it was the IBW,
who didn't
the Internet Writers Association. So
didn't vote.
Yeah, so I guess they had their own Hall of Fame vote. So
no, I mean, who did they not vote in? I missed the name. I was reading comments.
Billy Wagner.
Okay, that's what I thought you said. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I was reading comments. Yeah. So wait, the IWBBA did not
vote for Billy Wagner. I would guess that a lot of them are people that don't know who Billy Wagner is. I mean, that's not even. I'm not trying to slight anybody, but a lot of those people are probably younger. And
no, that's embarrassing, dude. That's like you're like. I'll just stop because I've definitely got something to say. Okay, whatever. That's it's freaking that kind of pisses me off, dude. He's the internet writer. What? Like, I would think the internet writer dudes would be the guys that are more in tune than the old heads that are the Baseball Writers Association, right?
Right.
Like you're all like the new guys. You got the blogs. You got the all the analysis and all this stuff. Like, come on, man. Like, oh, geez, sorry. Trust me, I am not saying about 90% of what I want to say. So good job.
It doesn't count.
You didn't vote for him. If you didn't get a vote for him, you got it wrong. To the sun. Billy Wagner's Hall of Fame.
We're still waiting on the actual Hall of Fame vote. 42.7 of the votes are known. Billy Wagner has 79.3. Gary Sheffield sitting at 75% even. Joe Mauer has 82.9%. This is his first time on the ballot. Todd Helton is sitting at 82.9. Adrian Beltre is sitting at 98.8%. So I'm just going to say, of all the people, I would not have thought Joe Mauer as a first ballot Hall of Famer if this happens.
If Joe Mauer becomes a first ballot and Gary Sheffield makes it and Billy Wagner doesn't, we're caravanning to the Baseball Hall of Fame, and we're going to see if Billy Wagner will go with us. And we're not going to riot, but we're going to have our own Hall of Fame ceremony, and we're going to make a plaque and put it on the entrance door of the Hall of Fame. We're willing to do that for you, Mr. Wagner.
And that's not any slight against Joe Mauer. When I think of him,
no,
I don't really think of him.
No, and Joe Mauer in his right was a very good player, but like you said, first ballot. What are we doing here, folks? What are we doing?
His highest season hitting home runs. This where it shows you it's not about home runs. His highest home run season was 2009. He had 28. The next highest season he had 13. But he was a career 306 batter. He had a career OPS of 439. He had 827. His slugging percentage was 439. His OPS was 827. His OPS plus for his career was 124. So yes, bad. He was a good hitter. He was good overall hitter.
But your point is first ballot. Your point is he doesn't quote unquote belong. But dude, if y'all don't put Billy Wagner in the Hall of Fame, everyone who doesn't vote for him, you should retire from voting and go move to Antarctica for all I care. Not to the sun. Just go to Antarctica. You can stay on Earth. Just go take your cold, dark heart somewhere else, because that, like, really, come on, man. Billy the Kid deserves to be in there. What else do we have to do with this show to promote Billy Wagner as a Hall of Famer? Look, I'm H. Will Huysman. What?
I'm Eric Huysman, and Dana Brown, get out there. Get us a reliever. We need another reliever. We need some more stuff to talk about on Locked On Astros podcast. I'm Eric. He's Brett. We are the Locked On Astros podcast, and we will see you tomorrow. And go Astros.
Wait, we were both doing the outro?
Yes.
Come on, man. Hey, I started. You can't start the outro after I start the outro. Didn't it take